The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual guests. If you're a sensitive snowflake that may get easily offended, then turn this off immediately. If you want to hear the real truth about the gun culture, then stick around. This is the Armed Citizen Podcast. What is going on, my Ghost Squad? Welcome to the Armed Citizen Podcast live. This is episode 120. We are live as always on YouTube and simulcasting as always over on gunchannels.com. And if you're not familiar with gunchannels.com right now, then we can't help you. It's only been 6 years, so we try to keep the water warm. We don't bite too heavily, but if you're new to the gun community and you have questions about different things firearm related, come on over to gunchannels.com. We'd love to have a conversation with you and invite you into the deep end. It's not too deep and it's not too cold, so we enjoy having everybody over there. If you're watching live on YouTube, go ahead and say hello in the chat below. We can't see you unless you say something. If you have a question for any of the panelists, then please go ahead and tag them or something, and we'll make sure we get those questions asked, or you can text them. You see the number right down below, 530-364-4678 is our hotline. You can text those questions as well. And tonight's going to be fun. I'm sure that you guys, in case you live under a rock and you don't know, SHOT's in a couple weeks. And maybe you've heard of it out there from other creators. Just saying, maybe that you've heard of SHOT Show, but it's going to start in a couple of weeks. But and everyone's talking about what they're going to do, what we want to do, and what our goals are. But I thought what we would do is bring you kind of on the inside of the industry side of SHOT Show, because a lot of people may not understand what some of these different companies do to prepare for SHOT and what their goals are and the magnitude of SHOT from the business side of things. So we will have a good conversation. We got some good friends from Arizona. We got the Godfather himself. What's up, G?
Hey, looking forward to the show. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, man. And from Texas, we got the tactical virus. The tactical leprechaun, Clover Tack. What's up, bro?
What up?
What up? And from Walk the Talk America, the headliner, from my understanding, the headliner of this year's SHOT Show fashion show, the model, the man, the myth, the legend. What's up, Sodini?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
You got it. And from Team POI, which is, man, they're a marketing firm that represents a lot of different companies. We got Cole from POI. What's going on, Cole?
How you guys doing?
Oh, we're living a dream, brother. Living a dream. And from Black Rain Ordnance, our good friend Clint. What's going on, Clint?
How's it going, brother?
We're going to try to get through this. I'll say this. So what I want to try to do real quick is kind of get an idea for the people out there watching and listening and podcast and replay, kind of what you guys from the industry side and what your projects are, kind of what you try to think about when it's time for preparation. How far out do you prep for Vegas? What all it goes into. I want to start with Sodini, since you're moving kind of from Eagle Imports into the nonprofit with Walk the Talk. Has your kind of schedule changed, and what's your kind of build up to SHOT Show now?
Oh, it's yes, it's absolutely changed, because with Eagle, I had this monstrosity of a booth, and I had a whole setup with meeting rooms and everything like that. And now I'm living the nonprofit life, so I'm in a little 10 by 10, booth downstairs. So obviously, I don't have to go out that far in advance to plan for this. It's a little bit. I have a little pop-up booth that I put up now. It's going to be a completely stress-free environment for me. Which
on top of that, you were jumping back and forth between Eagle and Walk the Talk. I mean, from upstairs to downstairs last year.
Yeah, and it always seemed like as soon as I left one booth and got to the other one, someone was in the booth I just left saying, "Where are you?" You know what I mean? So I'm happy to be sitting in one location. It's good.
Absolutely. Cole, I'm going to bring you in. And for people that may not know what POI, Team POI, kind of give everybody the background of what Team POI is. And since you're a marketing guy and you've got several brands, kind of tell people what your week is typically like.
POI is point of impact. Every different company that comes along has a different point or something that they want to hit. I kind of came up with something that is kind of outside the box. I got so sick of every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the firearms industry being in the same mindset. And even in the last 2 or 3 years, it's completely changed from what we can do in advertising and everything. So we've kind of changed everything and made it an impact for each client. We represent, most of our clients are in the precision rifle side of things. So it's kind of different. The AR markets and the pistol market, it's a totally different animal right now compared to what it is. A lot of AR manufacturers are coming into the precision rifle side. But, for some of our clients, it's all about who knows who and who you can get to come sit in your booth. And, you need somebody out there kind of tooting your horn, because with everybody being a YouTube person now, it's kind of hard to get any traction, especially where I can't spend any money to advertise with it. So a lot of it has become now, who can we get to do our thing? Influencers, things like that. So the whole animal is completely changing for us in the marketing side.
Yeah, I want to bring in Clint from Black Rain, and when you guys we were talking about this a little bit off air, but do you guys kind of set up your product launches for industry events? It may not be SHOT, it may be NRA, but do you guys try to coincide new product launches for these industry shows, or do you do that ahead of time for a lead up?
It varies. We do try to always have, for the industry shows, to have something new to roll out. It's kind of an expectation in the industry. So trying to always have something new, different, cool to roll out. But we always generally have releases in between the shows as well. Or a lot of times we'll have something that's kind of a soft release, and then we really push it hard during the show season. So,
yeah, and that's like we were talking before. It's amazing how many companies come out with a new release at SHOT, and then it doesn't get released till the next SHOT. So that's one of those things. It's like, okay, are you actually releasing it, or are you just teasing us, and then we're going to get bugged by customer service for the next 7 months?
Or even better, companies releasing items at SHOT that should be released the next year, because they should have spent a little bit more time planning for it.
Yeah.
So a lot of those that just, you think that they're going to be great, and then 6 months later, something's gone wrong with the firearm. They should have waited 6 months to make sure all the kinks were laid out, or now they're bankrupt or whatever. It's like, okay, it is interesting that way. Yeah. I want to bring G in. G, this is what, your 15th or 16th SHOT Show? And you were one of the first guys out there taking digital media at SHOT Show. And can you kind of explain to people from, you said before in other podcasts, but the difference between like 2005 and now with the media side of SHOT Show?
Yeah, 15th year. So 2005, I wasn't the first or nothing, but I was in that first wave probably of taking digital pictures instead of regular pictures. And yeah, I think it's interesting looking back at the way that our coverage has influenced everybody from the audience to the industry, just in the regards to the tech, right? Like everyone's internet's gotten faster, and we've gone to phones and mobile, and we've gone from still images immediately, which was a big thing back in the day, to streaming now. So we'll be doing stuff like this during the show, and the industry is anticipating it, leaving space in their booths or making time for it. So I like to focus on that after 15 years, that we've had subtle influence without intent. What if we attempted to offer some intent as we cover the show? That's my thing for this year, is to offer suggestion. Maybe if everyone who did an interview, those of us, like you say, we're kind of focused on the media side of it, but if each of us that was doing an interview would end the interview with a question, which gun owners' rights group do you support? Or which gun owners' rights group does the company support? That would let the industry know that it's something that's important to us. It would let our audiences know that us as creators, each of us has an interest there, and hopefully the industry would just be aware. And if the industry would end each of their interviews with, and here's the gun owners' rights groups we support, to the interviewers of the media that doesn't bring that up, that could bring a focus, on the rights, the protected rights that allow us to have this industry and this every aspect of all this. So yeah, the industry, the show's awesome.
I want to bring Clover in, and Clover, this is both our third SHOT Show to go to. And, starting from the first year to this year, has your preparation of what you're doing and what you're planning on doing, has it altered every year, or is it about the same every year?
Yeah, it's got to evolve. It has to, because the market evolves, your relationships evolve, your projects evolve, all that kind of stuff. So, as far as the planning and the way you approach it, I've said it a bunch of times, and G Webs was the ones that first mentioned it, with being able to have this mentality to go into SHOT Show and be fluid with it. And I think once you have a healthy understanding of SHOT Show and what's really going on, I think it makes it a lot easier to do. We've got creators, influencers, people in our creator sphere, that I like to call it, as well as viewers out there too, that they have this misconception, I guess, that SHOT Show gets together, the industry gets together, and it's for the media to come and for them to showcase their products to the world and the masses. And that's not really the intent behind SHOT Show. There's millions, if not billions of dollars of wheeling and dealing that's going on. The cogs and the gears right behind the industry that makes all that work. And I think once you understand that, you sort of learn your place as media, and it's a blessing to be able to go and be a part of that, and be a part of the electricity there and the environment, and cover what's going on. And then at the same time, get a little bit of attention on some of your projects and some of the things that you're doing.
Right. Now I want to bring in Mike and Clint, and then obviously Cole. And I want to kind of talk to you guys to the relationship between companies and media influencers. And, you guys are there to get your products out to the public as far as recognition, but you're also there to get sales and meet with different vendors and all of that to hopefully sell your product to gun shops and to distributors and all that. So, Clint, how much of it do you guys worry about the media? I mean, is the media welcomed, or is it one of those we have to kind of put up? Because are you there more to sell, or are you there to promote the products?
We try to keep it a balance of both. I mean, obviously, SHOT Show, some of those big shows, it's big business with distributors, dealers. A lot of our dealers from around the country and around the world, that's kind of the meeting spot. That's a lot of times the one time a year when some of us actually physically are in the same location. So it is a lot of that. But at the same time, social media and everything is so powerful, as we all know. And so it's very important for us to reach out and to push the product and to be able to provide those interviews and those opportunities for our customers and our clients to be able to have that impact as well. So try to balance it out. Range Day is media. That's primarily media. We do have some of our clients out there and stuff, but that's really mostly the media specifically, so that media can come out there, hang out, see the new products, do some interviews, obviously shoot some guns. That's always fun. And then we always have media stopping through the booth. We staff the booth pretty heavy, so we can always kind of accommodate not just our dealers and distributors, but also our media. So we always try to have a solid team there to cover everybody.
Yeah, I've got a text in from unknown user out there, and it's a question I'm going to run through the panel here a little bit later. Kind of one of those fun ones that everyone would like to answer. But I want to bring in Mike real quick. And as far as Walk the Talk America, what are your goals for Walk the Talk America when it comes to SHOT? Is it just trying to get the message out? Is it trying to get people to come in to help sponsor or become partners? Or what exactly with Walk the Talk America does SHOT bring to you as a nonprofit this year?
Well, yeah, obviously getting the message out, making people understand what the organization is all about. I have Nevada Coalition for Suicide Prevention working my booth like I had last year, Richard Egan. Those guys are great. Richard is a mental health, professional, but he also is ex-military and loves firearms. So he's like a vampire that could turn into a werewolf. He's got both those sides covered. So it's great when people come up to the booth. For me, I'm going to be meeting with a lot of gun manufacturers to try to get them on board to put the mental health insert flyer, for the screenings inside the firearms boxes. Arms Corps, High Point, all Eagle Imports guns do it. We've picked up quite a few manufacturers. So that's really what I'm going to be doing while I'm there, besides doing a few interviews for my own podcast. So, yeah.
Now, Cole, from the marketing side, we were talking kind of pre-show that, you don't spend a whole lot of time necessarily at booths on the floor. You've got many companies that you work with on the marketing side, so you're jumping back and forth. So I'm assuming that SHOT Show for you is going to be much different than most people's who's got products that they're trying to get out. You're more worried about the marketing side, correct?
Yeah, SHOT Show for me is relationships. Relationships is gigantic in this industry, and I talk with a lot of people on the phone all year long, and it's the only time that I honestly get to see most of them. And it's that time to where we can sit down face to face, shake hands, talk about certain strategies, meet new people, walk up face to face, because even me, it's hard as hell sometimes to get a hold of me on emails when I can walk right up and just get it knocked out and get that kind of stuff done. And a lot of these individuals that come, they don't understand that, we're there for a mission, and we're trying to build a lot of that. Coming into the media, they all come in and they want to do a bunch of like media, record for social media and different things. And it's hard. It's hard to make sure that we get them all, and we're trying to take care of them. There's so many people now with a cell phone and a microphone that want to record you. It's crazy, but trying to keep up on all that stuff's a nightmare, especially when you've got multiple clients like we do, and we're trying to take, different people to different booths so they can introduce each other. It's fun, and the after parties, of course, are a great way to interact and mingle and do things like that. And it's just a week of, you go home and you need a vacation from it. There's no doubt about it.
Well, on top of SHOT Show, you've got the week after or something like that is the Great Outdoors Show up in Pennsylvania. And it's like, and that's a 2-week thing. So, it's nuts. But you brought up something I want to bring up to everybody, let everyone's kind of talk about it, but not just the SHOT Show itself, but part of SHOT Show are the after events, whether the parties or the get together, just meeting in the circle bar at the casino. All of that plays into it. And we talk about that sometimes, but I don't know if people truly understand, especially if this is their first time going, how important those events are after SHOT Show, because you guys get to relax a little bit and you're not sitting there doing your 2 or 3 minute spiel for a camera. Do you guys value that time to be able to get to talk to people one-on-one a little bit more? You guys can just throw it out there. You don't have to wait for me to call and you go for it.
Yeah. For us being able to sit down, I lose my voice because usually it's in a freaking really loud spot and we're in the cigar smoke and everything else trying to talk. But to me, that is one of my favorite times to sit down and just discuss with people and talk, because they've kind of settled down. And, it's like me, my brain's going 100,000 miles a minute all day long. And when you get to actually sit down and talk with somebody, that's the time to really sit down and like one-on-one with some people.
Now, Clint, you guys will bring 10, 12 people to SHOT or whatever, sometimes more or whatever. And you guys had said that you guys rent a house as a company, rent a house. Do all of you guys stay there? And if so, do you guys host events, or do you just use that time to relax at the end of the day?
It's kind of a mixture of both. We always have at least one night where we bring in all of our reps, our dealers, distributors. They'll come hang out at the house. We'll put on a big meal, kind of cover what's new this year. Kind of treat them a little bit. And like I said earlier, that's some of those guys, that's the only time all year we actually are in the same location and get to see them. Some of our team members and industry partners we'll see throughout the year at other shows or whatnot. But a lot of those reps that are out working in the field and stuff like that, we see them at SHOT, and that's it. So try to kind of do something special for them, have kind of our annual meeting. And, also having that house, it's a great way for everybody to kind of take a break and relax at the end of the day. Because on the surface, even our families, they're like, oh, yeah, SHOT Show. You guys just go hang out and have fun. Anyone who's done it for work will tell you it is a lot of work. It absolutely is. You're exhausted. We hang out. We rarely get out of the booth. We'll occasionally get out for other meetings or anything or take a break, but it doesn't happen much. We're pretty well in the booth all day, every day, early and late, and it's a long week, but we're there to work. That's part of it. So it is nice to get off the strip, go to the house, and kind of relax a little bit for the guys. And we don't really host any major events per se, but we do have kind of our industry partners and stuff. They're welcome to come hang out and kind of treat them a little bit. And then we generally have several meetings that we go to, some of those private parties, for lack of a better term, the industry partners or people we work with. And it's a great opportunity to kind of sit down and catch up and outside of that show atmosphere to, as he said, just kind of visit and conduct business sometimes, but sometimes it's just to hang out and relax.
And just be friends. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Now, Mike, you live in Vegas, so for you, it's probably a little bit easier of a week, but then you probably also have a lot of responsibilities when all your buddies come into town. They expect you to take care of them, right?
Yeah, I think I'm the only person on the planet that wants SHOT Show like back in Orlando or Atlanta. Every time people come into town, everybody's looking for a hookup somewhere or something. I mean, I've had people ask me, do you know somebody at the helicopter rides? And you think about that, like when you go visit like Lexington, Kentucky, you don't ask people, can you give me a room? Or you know what I mean? Only in Vegas.
It's a whole different animal in Vegas, man. Yeah. There's so much you can get into.
Yeah.
G, Clover, do you guys have anything you want to bring up for, the after event stuff, or any questions you want to ask real quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think he nailed the thing on the head there with after events, especially when you're talking about the creator side or the influencer side of things, is it's already been talked about, and it's true. I mean, one of the great things is anybody can turn on a camera and be an advocate for the industry and an advocate for the Second Amendment and do their part, and that's great. Unfortunately, there are some bad actors out there, and there are some people that are not genuine with what they're doing, and there's people out there that are not very good at what they're doing. So it runs the gamut as far as the creators or the influencer goes. And I think that when you can sit down and have that one-on-one time and really talk with somebody and get an understanding of where they're at, you can kind of tell, okay, is this, as an industry person, and of course I want some feedback on this. I could be wrong, but I think that at least with the companies I've worked with, that seems to give them some insight that you are committed to the cause. You are committed to helping them with the brand. You are a person that's going to, you're doing it for the right reasons and all of that. It's not just for the views and the money, but you have a genuine vested interest in trying to see that company grow and help that company move forward and help the industry as a whole.
Yeah, there's no money. Man, you must be doing something special if you're making money on YouTube. What the hell?
Well, some people do.
Yeah, some people do. You're right. Some people do. And I kind of, and I'll let you guys talk about that in a second. But yeah, I think for me, as far as the after show stuff, kind of going what Clover was saying is, it is nice to kind of be able to talk. I met Clint last year at Range Day, and we probably sat there and talked for an hour, which doesn't seem like very good time minutes for either one of us at Range Day, because we could be doing a lot of other things. But it was worth it because you become friends with them, and these after show parties and all that, that's where you actually get to know them. Yeah, you can talk to them for 2 or 3 minutes, get your video shot and show the latest firearm. But when you get a chance to talk to someone and find out their background and, hey, this person too, and we all know different people, and you realize that, like me and Clint, we're like 3 hours away from each other. And it's just one of those things that's like, holy cow. So that's the cool thing about this, is when you start actually talking to these people and realize, hey, as a person and not a camera, I think that's kind of where the media and the industry kind of mesh together. G, do you have anything you want to bring up?
Well, you guys are sounds like you're talking about the smaller stuff. You guys haven't even, I'm sure Mike's been, but I don't know, the other guys have been to like the big parties, Cry and Glock, and the real parties. And
I don't get
so there's that aspect to it. I guess it's like going to, just the backstage pass or something. It's like having another layer of enjoyment of something, like going to a concert or enjoying a band or something. And then having a backstage pass, you have an opportunity to get known by the band members or the crew or something. I don't really know. I don't go backstage at bands, but I'm assuming there's some reason for it. There's going to be some people that are just interested, but if you're a reporter, let's say, and you had a backstage pass, that would be pretty awesome, right? So there's that aspect. You guys haven't been to the real big parties that I'm aware of yet, but then you also have, I'm not looking to network with everybody. I'm interested in who people are and what their goals are. So I learned just as much as from those after parties of who's just saying stuff on the floor, and then at the after party when they've had a few beers in them or something, they're true whatever. Then I'm like, okay, thanks. I'm never doing business with you again, or I have no business
Right.
with you again. I know what your true colors are, and that's something that whatever a couple of beers or just the after hours atmosphere can bring out, where that'll never happen on a floor with somebody who's got their stuff tied up and who's just playing the game, right? They're always going to seem professional and whatever. But if they blow you off, when you're drinking beers with them, that's a whole different thing than not sure why you didn't get that email back or something. So I think there's a lot of other implements of the relationship building at those after events. And I'd say there's only 4 days of 8 hours of shot, and then 6 hours of the media day. Every single night, there's multiple things going on at the same time. So I bet you there's way more time in after events than there is in shot. I don't know if anyone's ever tried to add it up, because every time I try to just mentally figure out, what's up this year, what's going on, I hear about more and more. You guys kind of talked about industry stuff, but there's units, that show up. This is the whole industry getting together, hunting groups getting together, and military units and police stuff, the different branches and stuff can get together, and all different levels of camaraderie. So there's so much stuff happening. They say $90 million comes along with SHOT Show to Vegas that week. $90 million in a week. We're the biggest show.
I want to bring Mike in real quick and say, you're in Vegas, so you see the convention capital of the world on a weekly basis. Is it different when SHOT comes in from the outside, not just from your perspective from Vegas? Is it different when SHOT comes because they're gun people? I mean, is there more security around? Do you see the difference at all?
Sometimes you see it, or you're just warned about it, like by the hotel staff, not to bring guns and cases through this stuff. There's so many shows going on in the month of January that are huge in Vegas. You have CES right now, which is going on, and you have the Builders Show, which runs right alongside SHOT Show this year, and then obviously ABN, which is wild in itself over at Hard Rock. So it's just a mass amount of people, descending on Vegas during that week. It's crazy.
Yeah. I kind of want to, you guys want to comment on, go ahead, G, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Like, are there other weeks that are that crazy? Because I know CES and the others all kind of happen in January. Typically, they all kind of shuffle around sometimes which weeks they do them in what order or something. But are there other months that are that crazy? Or is
no, not that I'm aware of. There's some bigger shows that happen. Magic goes on during the year. It's twice a year there, but it's not, I don't think it's as big as what goes on in the month of January in Vegas, and especially that week.
So now that SHOT's been there for 10 years now at Sands, and they tell us they're going to be there till 25. So they're there. So it sounds like Vegas braces for this month, and they're ready. Like we're seeing Vegas when they're on the job. Like that's when everybody is on duty and everything's working.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because that's neat. Because I go to Vegas every once in a while, being in Tucson. I'm not that far away, and I don't get the same. I'm not there enough to see the difference between the town, in January and March or December or something. So it's interesting. I never realized that we were in the busiest month. We're seeing Vegas at its best.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's exceptions to rules, like when there's a huge fight in town. Like a few weeks ago, there was a big fight, and there was also a rodeo in town. Like the rodeo is in town, so there's all different walks of life, people walking around. A lot of firearms people were there just for that. But this is definitely a wild time in Vegas.
Yeah. I want to bring Clint up here and Cole as well, but I want to start talking about prep. What you guys do to prep for SHOT Show, and I don't think people realize the magnitude of what you guys bring is Black Rain Ordnance, Clint. What you guys have to do to get all of your stuff from Missouri to Vegas. So can you kind of, without giving out too much information if you don't want, but kind of go into how long before SHOT you guys start doing this and what all it entails to bring Black Rain Ordnance to SHOT Show?
Well, honestly, prep for the show to a certain extent, it actually starts about 8 months out. I mean, really kind of starting to get things moving and starting that plan of, hey, what are we going to do for SHOT? It's everything from deciding what's going to be the new release. If we've got something in the works or in prototyping, what are we going to actually roll out this year? What are we going to push at SHOT kind of as the big rollout for the beginning of the year, to even catalog guns. What are we going to put on display in the booth? Or are we going to change the display? If it's the old display, that's got to basically be built at the house to make sure everything still works. Vehicle maintenance, just all the little stuff you don't think about. Everything, our entire booth loads up in a cargo trailer, goes behind one of our company vehicles, and makes a 24-hour straight through road trip with a road team of guys jump in there and haul it out to Vegas. And then, of course, the setup and the prep, just even looking at the firearms, everything we display at SHOT is going to be custom catalog. So you're looking at anywhere from 40 to 60 custom firearms that have to be ready just specifically to go to that display. And that's on top of everything else, daily business. So, and then generally we've got display guns that we display for meetings and special events and after hours events like you're talking about. And we've got other industry partners that either we use their optics or their, furniture or whatever, those products. And so we have display guns elsewhere besides our booth and vice versa. So it's a logistical nightmare to make sure everything's done, everything's there, everything's where it needs to be. So there's a lot that goes into it. And it really starts about 8 months out, and then generally about a month and a half out, it really starts getting chaotic. All that last minute, guys, we still got to get this done. We still got to get that done. If my camera was panned out more, a box sitting over here, I think is probably full of clothing stuff that's getting ready to get logoed up. So we got new clothing items for some of our dealers and our reps. I've got boxes of ammo sitting around me on the desk. That's all ammo going to range day. We've got guns laying all over the place. They have tags hanging on them. Don't touch, SHOT Show. So it's a big deal.
When you guys, you're going to be at range day on Monday. So when do you get to Vegas? Is it Thursday, Friday, Saturday before, or do you roll in Sunday? And when do you guys get to SHOT Show itself?
So generally our road team will roll in Saturday. They'll be boots on the ground Saturday, get in the house, get things ready to set up and everything, and then it's hitting the ground running. The crew that's not on the road, they all fly in, and then of course booth set up, and then range day, and there's a lot of moving parts and pieces.
Before I move on to Clint real quick, there are a couple comments for you from the Cole Clint. There's too many C's over here. Let's see here. The gun snob lives in Tulsa, and he says he only lives an hour away. Can you pick him up so he doesn't have to drive himself out to SHOT Show?
Right on. Only if you're willing to drive the stretch out across the desert between about 2 o'clock in the morning and 6 a.m.
The one doesn't have any turns, it's just straight. You fall asleep on. Yeah.
And even something as simple as that stretch across the desert, the fuel is so spread out. When you're dragging a cargo trailer behind you, you got about 120-mile range. So to an extent, it's almost like a military mission. You're planning out your fuel stops. You've got 120-mile range, so you've got to either have a place to stop or you've got fuel cans with you. That's all stuff people just don't think about.
And people often think like, oh, I see gas stations all the time. But if you're not paying attention to the prices, you can really pay like double the amount of gas for a trailer and everything if you just stopped at the convenient ones or whatever.
Oh, generally in the desert between here and Vegas, it's usually upwards of around $4 a gallon. If it's $2 at home, it's like $4 a gallon out there.
Because they know they have you. They've got you in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
With that gas buddy thing, you find like the local gas station will be like $3.20 or $2.20, whatever it happens to be. Yeah. And then you get towards Vegas, those strips like between Kingman and Vegas, and $4, it goes up to double the price.
Yeah. And then Travis P11 says, let Black Rain know that he appreciates them offering AR options for lefties. So you got a fan there.
Right on.
I want to bring Cole in. And since you're working with so many different companies, you've got to not only worry about what you're going to be doing, but you're on timelines of 5-10 other companies that you're working with. So how far in advance does your SHOT Show prep start? And tell us the difference between being the manufacturer and being a marketer, where you have to wait for what their plan is going to be, I'm assuming, correct?
Yeah, we've got to figure out exactly what they want to do. I'm on the phone. I've been on the phone this week with, hey, what guns do you want here? What guns do you want there? Who do you want me to bring by the booth? Is there any big names that we need to bring by to do some videos on YouTube? All that stuff comes into play. And I've got, my brands are so far apart. I've got Phone Scope on one side that is no firearms at all. And then I've got Masterpiece Arms and the others on the other side that I'm like, trying to help them get whatever they're doing. And then not to mention going to range day, setting up range day, setting up giveaways, setting up, like he said, multiple other booths that are always trying to contact, hey, can we put something in your booth? Can we put something in your booth? And it's always, it never ends. Even up to the day of, we're still trying to shuffle stuff around and doing handoffs back and forth to try and get it done. And it's fun. It keeps you on your toes, but a lot of people kind of get frustrated. They're like, why is he taking so long to reply to me? Why is he not answering his phone? Well, there's a pretty good reason why I'm not doing it right now. And it's because I'm probably not even sleeping and I look like I'm freaking death warmed over. But, it's crazy when you're on multiple companies because you've got so many different avenues that you've got to go down. And it's fun though. Can't complain.
Well, I'm just happy that you guys are able to. I sent you guys texts and we're like, hey, do you guys want to come on and do this? And you're like, yeah, dude. I was like, they're probably not even going to look at their phones. They probably have their phones shut off right now because there's no reason to have them on 2 weeks prior to shot because everyone's probably wanting something from you. Mike, when we're bringing in for we even go back to Eagle Import stuff, how long in advance were you being in Vegas? You have most of your stuff there, so you didn't have to worry about the transport of it. But how early did you guys at Eagle Imports have to get ready for a shot?
Well, we had to transport. We were in Jersey. My warehouse was in New Jersey.
All was still in Jersey? I figured you had someone out in Vegas.
No. I just live out in Vegas. But yeah, so we had to see, the thing for Eagle was we had so many shows back to back. We had a lot of the distributor shows that we had to do. There's just a number of shows. There were shows. Big Rock used to have their show in Vegas right before, SHOT Show. So sometimes you'd have some stuff out there early, but we would start like 6 months in advance. Planning out SHOT Show. We used to throw a big party too, which I'm so glad I don't have to do anymore because it just, as you guys were saying earlier, all these parties and events, you're trying to find a time to crowbar your party in just so people can get there. Because you don't want to go up against one of the big guys like the Glock party, you know what I mean? Those type of things. But those things take time and preparation. You have to meet with the restaurants or the people that are hosting the party, all that stuff.
In Vegas, where there's the largest gun convention at the same time, sometimes is like the other big conventions. So that means there's only so many caterers and food, period. You got to just plan all that. And then you can't know if like Brownells decides, hey, we're starting a Wednesday event at night at 5 p.m.
Yeah, I would just, what I would do is call some of the contacts I had at other companies and just say like, hey, man, can you tell me when you're going to have your party? And I would try to get it. See, I would pay more to have it in the Venetian or the Palazzo because it was easy for people to just come out of the show and go to the event. Some of these parties are off the strip. And, I always think that's kind of challenging for people because the last thing sometimes people want to do is get in an Uber or a taxi and go, 15 minutes away after you've been in a long day of shot. So,
yeah. Clover, do you have anything you want to bring up or ask real quick?
No, I think I'm good for now.
Okay. So the next one I want to talk about is, okay, so we talked about for the media side, and I think Clint even brought up, you have some shirts and stuff. How much of that is the marketing side of patches, hats, t-shirts, the swag game? Is that a small part, or is that something that actually you guys had to think about a long ahead of time to make sure that you're getting out swag for people to take home?
Yeah, we start planning it out quite a while ahead of time, because obviously having the embroidery or whatever that item is, getting all that done in time, there's a lot of planning that goes into that. And we don't do as much of the swag at SHOT as we used to, because those of you that have been around SHOT for a few years, you know that there's a lot of swag hounds that they just ride around with their little basket and steal every free thing they can.
Yeah.
And, man, a few years ago, our guys went to a local gun show after SHOT, and there were people with tables set up at this gun show legitimately selling swag that they had got from SHOT Show.
Yep.
So it's crazy. So we've kind of backed off on the swag items a little bit. We still have stuff around, but It's not quite as extensive as a lot of the vendors and everything. They've got some crazy stuff that they do. So, but it still takes a lot of planning. There's a lot of people there, and there's kind of stuff that we set out at the booth for everyone who comes through, and then there's stuff we have available for our reps and our dealers and our business partners and things like that. So it's kind of having all of that in place, having enough of it. So
checking eBay the week after SHOT Show is always interesting. Always.
Yeah,
dude, you'll see patches for $75 out there.
Oh, I guarantee you.
Yeah,
you got 10 of those for free, bro. Come on,
yeah.
There are some people that will just come up to the booth, and I don't think they even care what your product is. They just ask you if you have free stuff. And we used to, like me and Raphael as my national sales manager, we would always tell people, "Oh, we just gave out our last iPad."
It's Tuesday at 10 o'clock. We talk about this a lot. The little fuckers with the carts that pull behind themselves, the little milk crates.
Yeah,
they should ban those. My wife was watching something before Christmas, and she saw that like this pull behind like suitcase, and she goes, "Oh man, you got to get this. This would be perfect for SHOT Show for you." I'm like, "Hell no!"
I watched Lou Ferrigno punt one of those one morning on the way in. I was like, "Oh shit!" There went the Hulk.
The Hulk is real.
Yep.
I want to bring Cole in, and without giving specifics, I don't think that a lot of people understand the magnitude of money that Black Rain, every company that's out there, spend. Devil Dog Arms and all those McMillans. Without giving specifics, are we talking 7 figures? Are we talking high 6? I mean, what are kind of some numbers that you hear that people are spending on their week at SHOT?
Well, like take for instance Remington. I worked for Remington for 6 years. They hired a company that would just come in and set up their booth. This company would fly in, set up the booth, and then fly out, and then they'd fly back in when SHOT Show was over. So it's easy 6 figures just for the booth and then a rental. Easy. Not to mention labor for people to be there, products they're giving away, after hours stuff they're doing. For bigger companies, 7 figures is 100%. Even for a smaller company like Phone Scope, it's probably, I think, for booth space and getting the booth there and everything else, you're probably at least between 50 and 80,000 would be my guess. So you've got to understand
real estate.
Yeah. So you've got to understand a lot of these people come looking for sponsorships and they come looking for free patches and all this shit. It's like, do you realize how much money we spent to get here? Help us come help us try to sell some of our products, come buying something, come wanting something, not just here, I want a handout. It's kind of gone that way. Like he said with, the free, give me, I want free patches. I want free stickers. You know how much that cost us to do each one of these people, some of the smaller ones, they've probably spent their entire savings on getting there. And you're asking them for free stuff. It's like, that's not very fair to them either.
Well, I've heard from several places that as far as the booth space, it's about $1,000 a square foot. That sound about right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's expensive.
Depends on how big this booth is. The little booths downstairs were $18,000 a couple of years ago. Last time I asked somebody, just for the booth, and then you start stacking everything.
Now, Clint, you're downstairs, and you guys have a pretty good size booth downstairs. You don't have to go into exact, but what are we talking here?
It's a lot.
Yeah,
comparable to some people's salaries.
Yeah.
So, and you heard me talking about earlier our 24-hour road trip. It's kind of become a tradition for our road crew. No one really wants to get in our van is cool. It's all tricked out and all that. But,
it is cool.
No one really wants to get in the van and drag a cargo trailer 24 hours. But it's stuff like that is, no matter how big we get, we're blue collar guys. We're all working class, military, law enforcement, first responder. That's our backgrounds. So no matter how big we get, we're not going to just absolutely waste money. And you look at the cost of shipping stuff across the country. You were talking earlier about some of the guys that pay someone to set up their booth. it would blow your mind what it costs to have stuff forklifted into the convention or utilizing local union labor or anything like that. So over the years, we do a lot of shows. Man, it saves a lot, us hauling stuff across the country ourselves, our guys, our employees, dragging stuff in, setting it up, tearing it down. It's a lot of work and it's a lot extra, but at the same time, it's just to just waste money. And these big trade shows are not cheap. I mean, it's not just shot.
That's the thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're all right, man. None of the big shows.
Yeah, for like shipping, for like the union, like he was saying, to get a box from the loading dock to your booth is anywhere between $2,000 and $7,000, depending on how. That's just for them to forklift it to your booth. So, I mean, it's kind of a ruckus. You know, the unions, there's not a whole lot you can do about it, but you deal with it and you move on. But it's good that a lot of companies are starting to do their own thing, which kind of irritates the unions, of course. But what do you do? I mean, that's the thing, is it's like, really, you spend that much when, look how much money I could do with, you know, say $5,000. I could build a lot of swag for that, or different things like that. I mean, you got to look at the big picture of it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that I talked to 2 years ago. There was a holster company, one of 10,000 holster companies that are at SHOT trying to make their niche. And that's great because I'm a holster whore. You know, I've got literally cabinets of holsters. But he was saying that it was him and another guy there from Texas, and they spent basically everything they had. Like SHOT Show, and they had a table in the corner of the dungeon, and everything that they have was, this is either going to make us or break us. And I think they had a successful week to where they continued on, but that's a lot of pressure. You know, you're talking about money, but the pressure of, if we don't do well this week and we don't get a lot of sales this week, or we don't at least get interest this week, then our business is gone. So, I mean, that's something that's scary. I want to bring Mike in real quick and talk about, you know, the other side of this when it comes to the business of the nonprofit. And you talked about working with companies trying to get the flyers in there and all that, but how much of this stuff, like you said, you're there, but you're not necessarily at that table a lot because you're having to do meetings and all of that. But when you leave SHOT Show every year so far with Eagle, probably a little bit different this year with Walk Talk America, but how do you gauge whether it was a successful week? Is it sales, or is it the contacts you make, or how do you gauge if it was just a successful SHOT Show?
Well, this is going to sound a little crazy, but for Eagle Imports, for me, SHOT Show was a complete waste of money. I pretty much did it for my manufacturers. If I didn't have the manufacturers breathing down my neck about it, I would have just, you know, we were talking before the show started, and we were talking about some people rent rooms or a hotel room and conduct all their meetings there. I would rather do that. You know, I used to tell people all the time, for me, SHOT Show was like taking over $100,000 and lighting it on fire. You know,
that's scary to think, but I mean, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be sitting there with my national sales manager, and we'd be trying to pull like these positives out of it, you know. And obviously, like, we love seeing our friends and, you know, finding out information, or, you know, showing people new product. But at the same time, like, you know, we really had to stretch, because most of the manufacturers would come in and they'd have meetings in my booth. Right. And that's what they would do. And they'd meet with their parts supplier. They'd meet with all their other person. I was basically a marketing company that paid for everything. So, yeah.
Yeah. You know, and a lot, like we were talking, there's a thing that we're talking in the private chat a little bit also, but it's worth versus value and all of that. And every company, I guess, has what they're going to set out their goals to be. So I want to bring Cole back in here, because you were saying that, you know, before is, you've got several companies, and each one of those companies probably have different goals that they want to meet. So for you as the marketing guy, you know, how much are you able to spread your time evenly, or are there some companies that you have to kind of work with a little bit more during SHOT?
You know, some of them are more well known than others. Most of it now is kind of like what these guys have hit on before. It's what new products are out there. And the problem is how many stock companies are putting out a new product, or how many chassis companies are putting out a new product. So how do I get attention to my clients over the others, to make sure that, hey, you know, they've got this cool new thing, I'll look at it. And, it's all about attention. And again, it's bringing in certain people, like, Iraq vet and different guys like that have a huge following to kind of get more eyes on it, and it's funny because all these Tom, Dick, and Harrys come in with their cell phones and want to record it. You know what? Honestly, let them do it. If that gets one of my products to another 20 people, sweet, done, killer. But as different clients, each one of them have a different goal. Is it about a new product? Is it just that I want to get known more? Is it I need to create more alliances? But that's the thing is, when I named my company, it wasn't just POI, it was Team POI, because it was a bunch of us that went in as a team and were really good at stuff. And I got guys setting up, meetings, and I've got guys setting up with new people. Hey, we need to go talk to these guys and see what they're all about so that maybe we can work together. And that to me is kind of what everybody wants to do, is they just want to work with each other to figure out how they can help each other out. Some of them, I guess, don't think they need help, but they probably do.
I think that there's probably people on the media side that think that they're bigger than that they need to be thinking also. Do you want to bring you in, because you bring up a good point about, as media, I want to kind of go in and say, you said that we make the same decisions. It's obviously on different scales and all that, but as media, it's a pretty large investment to go out there where basically we are literally burning money because we don't get sales and all that. So we're going out there to cover the SHOT Show. And I love it. It's one of my favorite weeks of the year because, once again, it's more about seeing friends and seeing people at one time a year. And hey, we might see you at NRAM, we might see you here or there, but SHOT Show is kind of where everyone gets to see each other for an extended amount of time. So I want to bring G in and say, you were saying that the media goes through the same selection process and all that, the build up for media. You want to kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, whatever the last thing there you were saying was, or somebody was saying, was that, we have to make financial decisions. That's, big companies, because they spend a lot of money. And then look at Gunbroker. I think that's a great example. Over 15 years watching the Gunbroker presence at SHOT Show, it's gone the gambit from a card table to giant, like, cars and girls and helicopters and weird stuff like in the building, and then back down to small, and then multiple booths, and trying to do their own YouTube. Like, they've done, there's all kinds of change. But here's the thing, it's like a gun show. I think it's bad. I understand 100%, because that's why I put the thing in there about media. It's not a given for me. I live in Tucson. It's a 8-hour drive, so it's like $100-something in gas. I live in the van, and it's not a given. Like, I'm not guaranteed to be able to go, because it's, we're all at different levels, like you say. So but over 15 years, I keep going, not because I gain financially from it, but because I want to be part of the community, part of our industry and all that. And that's the little bit that we all give up so that we have that we have our community. I mean, SHOT is started in the 1960s, or 79, I guess, as a result of a whole bunch of regional SHOT shows, from what I understand. There were like regional distributor level. There's still distributor level shows out there that are similar to SHOT Show, but just for one distributor, one person, one entity that gets guns out to gun shops, right? But SHOT Show brought everybody together. And then I think when it floundered, it brought the military and police in. So now it cross-pollinates. Now we got military police hanging out with hunters and Gore-Tex and boots and international and gun shops. Like, what did that do to our community? And now we get anybody who can qualify as media, which is a lot of people, because new media definition has shifted. And like you say, you spend a lot of money to get to SHOT Show. When you get, let's rewind to the 90s, you spend a lot of money to get to SHOT Show, and hopefully somebody comes by and takes a picture if they were authorized, and hopefully a television show does a swipe and you're in it. But you're definitely not going to ever get the attention of a television camera. You're probably not going to get the attention of the SHOT Show press, because they're getting, relationships with their advertisers. Now anybody has the opportunity to help promote your stuff. So you're paying a lot of money, sure, but you're participating in community. Everyone knows what SHOT Show is. It's an industry thing. So I'm saying it's like Thanksgiving. I'm not a big fan of Thanksgiving all that much, right? Seems like a lot of money to spend on one dinner. We have dinner every night, but that dinner's special to so many people. It's an event. It's a thing. and we're all part of it. So I definitely appreciate the companies that spend the basically it's a salary. You have another employee, and that's going to SHOT Show. But as I've been going for 15 years, I could care less about the new trigger or a different model or a different color, because there's plenty of people. There's 2,500 other press that focus on that stuff, and they take it directly to the people that care. What I've been more fascinated on is the stories. Taking a van trip with your company across states, multiple states to get there. That's Christmas. That's like an anniversary event for your company. And I know what it's like for 15 years to bring a crew to SHOT Show. And I've just been doing videos looking back on it. And some years it's big. Some years we got sick. Some year, like 17, we were there for like 3 days. I got deadly sick. The other guys were sick. We're like, let's leave. You know, that happens. And that's a heck of a lot of money. You can't make that decision sometimes when you're working there. I mean, there's just so much involved with SHOT Show that I appreciate it seems like sometimes you don't get immediate results from it, but I'm hoping that that we'll all appreciate the long-term results and the stuff that's happening in Virginia, and the fact that we're a solid industry, a solid community without the NRA really doing anything, falling apart literally. That's indication that, that's working. It's not perfect. I'm not going to say that it's perfect, but I definitely appreciate everybody's putting financial resources into it.
I wish you guys could see the private chat. It's awesome. But one thing, the SHOT Show crud is real. And that's why you can start a month ahead of time with your vitamins and all that. I mean, I started like Christmas time with my vitamins.
Hey, let me ask on that topic, Mike. What's the name? What do people call the sickness when you go to SHOT Show and you get it?
I always call it the SHOT Show flu.
Okay.
Which almost killed me one year, by the way. So
I've heard a lot of different things that I'm not going to say, but one of them, most of it is the SHOT Show crud.
I'm going to say like 80% of it is crud or flu. All these other ones that people are coming up with are not what people are calling it at the show. So I just want to throw that out there.
Right. SHOT Show AIDS. We'll start a new one.
I've heard that though. I've heard that. I'm going to get AIDS. SHOT Show. What? What are you talking about? I want to bring Clint in because he said he wanted to elaborate kind of what G was saying a little bit as well.
Well, just a couple of points there. Kind of hit back on the van trip across the country. That it's a lot of work, and no one likes that 24-hour drive. But that is kind of that one time a year where the crew hits the road and just hangs out, and so it's kind of cool just to get in that road trip, I guess. So that is kind of a fun part of it. As much as it can be miserable, it's kind of fun at the end of the day. And we've got some of our crew that we see once a year. So,
do y'all videotape that trip at all to kind of document?
Absolutely not. Everyone signs non-disclosure notices.
No evidence whatsoever. I want to bring Cole because he made a good point. Oh, go ahead.
Can I throw something in there?
Well, just real quick, kind of talking about the scope and the size of the show. You mentioned just briefly international. And sometimes when you do SHOT for so many years, you do kind of lose sight on just how big it is and what the outreach is. We were at an international show here a couple of months ago, and some of the businesses that we were setting up meetings with and everything like that, it was kind of like, hey, we'll see you in 2 months at SHOT. And it was not just a couple of people. It was people that are at these international shows that are coming to the U.S., coming to Vegas specifically for SHOT Show. And so we've got these follow-on meetings from international travels that are coming from all over the world to be at SHOT. So it really is bigger than a lot of us kind of realize or remember. It's easy to get focused on, all right, guys, it's SHOT. We do this every year. Let's get in there, get it done kind of deal. But it really is a big scope.
Yeah. I want to bring Cole in because you made a statement that it's so true, because I think that even for us that, you can tell pretty quickly whether someone at a booth is interested in doing business with you. And a lot of times you can't, because it's like, it may not be you, but the fact that you're just tired of all of the bullshit that goes on. But there are bad people in the media as well. You want to kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things that kind of drive us nuts. And one of it's sponsorships, people walking up, hey, we want to be sponsored. This probably isn't the time to be talking to us about that. Come back to us, send us a resume, do whatever you need to do. This isn't the time. Same thing with media. They come in, and this might piss some people off. I don't know, but I always try to speak frank. That's great. Your media, we appreciate it, but don't come in walking like you're on cloud nine and you're better than everybody else. Come in. We're trying to do business with you. We're trying to grow our brand, and by doing that, maybe take it in, hey, if you help us, we'll help you type thing. And it's amazing how many come in and on media and you need to give me free shit, and I'm everywhere. And the problem is that ruins it for all the really good media people out there that I've worked with over the last decade in this industry, that I know for 100% fact, if I give them something, it's going to get done. It's amazing how many people, I need a gun, I need this, I'm going to do videos on it, and then you never see or hear from them again. And it's like, man, that brings a lot of bad light to the good media people that come to it. And it boggles my mind. It's like this industry, everybody thinks, oh, SHOT Show's so big. If you look at the firearms industry compared to NASCAR or the car industry or anything else, it's like this big. And when you start burning bridges and you start, acting like a tool and everything else, it's not going to last very long. You got to think about it. SHOT Show's huge, but pretty much everybody that's in the industry is in that one building at one time. So it's something that I think a lot of people need to kind of take a step back and go, you know what? It's something that's being attacked, especially for like advertising, things like that. And how can we help each other? And I think if a lot of media people would take it to that extreme or to that side, imagine how much better it would be instead of, okay, give me free shit all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing is it's interesting, and we all know people that their only thing is to get as much free shit as they can. They don't care about what it is. They don't care what it does. They have no use for it, honestly, but they just want to collect. And yeah, and they do give a lot of people that are trying to bust their ass, that are trying to do it for the right reasons or have special projects or, immediate needs for different products. They give everyone a bad name. Clover, I want to bring you in, and I know I'm sure you got something you want to touch on this subject as well.
Did I? I don't know if I did or not.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm sure you want to talk about the relationship between media and
I totally get it. I was in business for 20 years, right? So, not in this industry and not at the scale of course the guys here, but it's the same thing when you get little league teams coming in, right? It's essentially the same thing. Right. Honestly, it's better because at least the little league team is a little more noble cause than just some dude with a camera wanting you to pay $100 a month or $500 a video or some kind of crazy something. And it all goes back to what we talked about earlier, is got to use that opportunity and build that relationship. And sometimes the chemistry's not there, and you're just not going to be able to build a relationship with certain companies, whether you like their products or not. That's just not enough. I mean, the chemistry's not there between you and the marketing people or you and the owners or whatever it might be. Maybe they don't like your style. But that's where you take those baby steps. And the first is introduction, and maybe going to an after party, and, maybe seeing if there's some, things that you have in common with those people, or something like that. And then build on it from there. And then, a year down the road or something like that, there may be an sponsorship opportunity or a T&E opportunity or something else, come along. And that's what I think, that most people have this perception they can kick on a camera and they can make a video and have 1 million subscribers next week, and companies frothing at the mouth to send them stuff. And they've also got this mentality, and this is what aggravates me. And I don't know if on the industry side people see it this way or not. And be interesting to get the feedback from the guys here that are in the industry on this. But, I get told a lot. They're like, oh, well, that company sent you a free this or a free that. And no, they didn't. I've got to work for that. I've got to put out posts and videos, and I've got to test, and I've got to review, and I got to do all of this stuff. They're not sending me a free anything. They're sending me something, sure. And maybe they allow me to keep it. Maybe they don't. But at the end of the day, at the very least, I've got time involved. And then when you're talking about a firearm, I've got the cost of ammunition involved. I got the cost of targets involved. I'm fortunate because I've got a range here, so I don't have range fees. But for other people, they have that kind of stuff involved. So, do you guys, as the industry, do y'all see that as part of what the creators and the influencers have to do, or do you genuinely see it as they're asking for free stuff?
Who wants to answer that? You want me to?
I don't think anyone wants to answer it.
No. This is the thing: is as industry personnel, we need content. We need a way to tell people the story about our products, and we like I do it for multiple companies, and I can't do it by myself. So I need companies, or I need people like you guys to go out there and build that. And I think, in my mind, it makes 100%. It makes sense to me to send you something, and if you're going to give us content, you're going to give us feedback, and you're going to do it, I think you should keep it. I mean, that's the thing, and it all depends. Is it a $10,000 gun? Is it a $500 gun? That a lot of that depends on it as well, because that also relates to what we need for that. SEO is key. We can't do advertising. We can't do YouTube. We can't do a lot of that stuff. So us being able to kind of go out and get more people to do reviews and post it on their channels to their people, and that's about the only way we can do it anymore, honestly. So it's a huge help for us. But again, the people that ask for stuff and then do nothing with it and disappear, that kind of ruins it for everybody, which makes it in turn harder for us to get the product to the people that really need it and that can use it. If I send it to somebody and it disappears, that's product that could have gone to somebody else that could have done something great for us. And that's all in all in the problem. But again, I think if you do a good job and you're building content, you're writing articles, you're doing that kind of stuff, you deserve it, in my opinion.
It's tough. I mean, we get probably, it's not an exaggeration, and I'll broaden the spectrum a little bit. It's not just for media stuff, but also, requests for raffles, donations, so that, and it's always generally a good cause. Law enforcement, military, hey, my kid's sick. There's always this stuff, and it's not an exaggeration that probably 5 or more a day, people reaching out to us, hey, can you send me this? Can you send me this? And it's that variety of donations or raffles or media, hey, we want to push your product. We want to team up. And so it's tough to balance that out, because it is such a vital part of being in the industry and getting that the product out there to the hands of the people that need to, so they can promote it. So it's almost a full-time job for part of our team to sit and look at those requests and decide who needs this and who doesn't, and how do we approach this. And we got to just hit every single one of those individually and weigh out the pros and the cons and decide where it goes. And do we miss some opportunities? I'm sure. Do we choose some wrong sometimes? I'm sure we do. But generally, the way we approach it, we try to set it up to where the goal of it is to build relationships. Maybe we send somebody, hey, man, we're going to kick you a gun out. We'll put it on 6-month terms or whatever. Do some stuff. We'll start building that relationship. And maybe they end up doing something big, and they get to keep it, or maybe they have to buy it, or maybe they have to send it back. It just varies, situation dependent. So it's a big part of the industry, and you do have to build those relationships, but it's a lot to filter through it.
Well, I would imagine also that, and I've been told by some companies, and they're more smaller companies, that they'll say that they have to utilize social media influencers because they literally don't have the marketing and advertising budget to do anything themselves anyways. And so they almost have to jump in bed with the enemy. And if you're able to do that, like you said, pick and choose who you do that, I think that's when it becomes a profitable for both sides. Is, yeah, it might be a $500 firearm. And yeah, by the time we get done with time and ammo, we've got X amount of dollars worth of our time and ammo in there. But ultimately the goal is the same. Is, I would like to think, and obviously it doesn't happen, but I would like to think that influencers are going to try to work with companies that they get to know, that they actually like and use the product, instead of just saying, hey, send me stuff. I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but send it to me. Instead of saying, look, I'm going to use this for this project, or I'm doing a build, or I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing some long range shooting, and I need a rifle for this competition stuff or whatever, and actually have something to go along with that. Because then it's profitable for all. But yeah, I could see where it gets it gets nasty at times. I want to go into something where, Mike, and you can bring this in as well, because you've been involved in this. But so you're at SHOT Show and you have 2,500 media guys stopping by your booths wanting to a piece of your time and say, hey, I'll call you or I'll email you. I usually try to wait 2 to 3 weeks. I don't want to wait too long, but I'll never email like the next week. But like for you guys, when you guys get back from SHOT, now some of you guys are going to the outdoor show, which is another 2 weeks up in Pennsylvania. So like when you get done with an industry show and media guys start sending you emails, at what point do you just not even look at them anymore? I mean, does there come a point with that, or do you sit there and say, hey, wait 2 weeks before you do anything, or wait till March before you email me? Do you guys do it that way, or what? Because there's a lot of people that are new to SHOT Show this year that are coming that we know that, try to help them to where, hey, don't email them the next week after.
Yeah, I used to. It was funny because I used to always try to do everything off of memory, and I would always go back home with like a stack of cards, and I'd look and I didn't write something on the back of it because I thought I'd remember what I talked about with the guy, and I had to stop. Yeah, I spread it amongst my team. I had a national sales manager, Rafael Davale. He was always there. I had the people back in Jersey. Sometimes we would just do it instantly if it was something we needed to get to, and a writer had a deadline or something. And just on a side note too, like I had one writer one time, he caught me in a good mood. He was just in the booth and he was a big fan of the firearms. And he was like, look, man, would you mind sending me a gun and I said, yeah, I'll send it to you if you send it back. And I sent him a couple guns, and normally I wouldn't have done that, but cut 2, 3, 4 years later, this guy built a nice name for himself in the industry. And he always said, you were one of the few people that, like, when I first started, actually gave me a chance. So sometimes you have to keep that in mind too. But yeah, to circle back to your question, I usually would let people contact me whenever. I kind of preferred them to contact me because I wasn't going to remember to send emails.
Yeah. Cole, Clint, you guys have a preference as to, from a media standpoint, how much time, a buffer zone do you want between you got to start talking to for requests and all that stuff?
I try, like when I come home, I've got 4 or 5 emails between all my clients. When I come home, I've got anywhere between probably 150 to 300 emails. And that's just from day-to-day business, right?
Yeah.
So when I get back and these people start logging into it and doing on top of that, it's hard for me to catch up. So I'd like at least 2 weeks to try and get it, between travel and probably getting over the SHOT Show shit. It's, it took me probably like 3 months last year to get over that crap. Like, it was bad. The SHOT Show crud was bad last year. And I just need some time to get to settle down. The other thing is, a lot of people need to realize right now, these companies have multiple, shows going on. And like at Barnes and Remington, I think we had like 13 different crates full of stuff. So when you get back and you start asking for product, a lot of these companies won't have it because it's still on the road traveling between shows or it's somewhere else. So you've got to give everybody a little bit of time to kind of settle back down and getting back in the groove of things before you start requesting anything or, start to doing all that talking, because it doesn't do us any good when we're already, on our last year trying to get to it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I want to run to the panel real quick and saying, I want to take 2 separate ones because they're different. SHOT Show and NRAM. SHOT Show's industry, NRAM, you have the general public that is able to come in. I'm going to start with, we'll start with Clint. Which one do you prefer, person? Not as a company, not represent your company, but do you prefer the industry side of SHOT or maybe a more relaxed NRAM?
Man, that's a tough one.
Or do you hate both of them?
well, there's pros and cons to both. NRAM it's a long show.
Yeah.
It's a long time to be at one show, so that gets to be real long days. But there's pros and cons to both. I mean, it's completely different shows. SHOT Show is more, obviously your media is there. You've got all of that end of it. You've got your dealers, your distributors. NRAM is more of a commercial show, so you've got your end users. So for us, it's always exciting. I know we just saw you here not too long ago at a small gun show down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And people are often surprised that a manufacturer goes and still does those shows like that. But we love that. We love the opportunity to get out there to a relatively small show and be able to talk to the end users, because a lot of manufacturers don't do that. And for us, we love being able to get out there and enjoy those shows. So it's a completely different show from SHOT when we go up to NRAM, because it is the end user, the commercial side. Completely different display, completely different products. So there's things we love about both.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was surprising because we've been going to Wanamaker in Tulsa for a while, and I just sent a text because a buddy of mine was in there from California. He was looking to get an AR, and I sent you a text that, hey, do you guys have any California compliant, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, when I get back from Tulsa, I was like, shit, you're here? So I didn't even know you guys were until we were like a block away from each other in our houses that we're staying in or whatever. But yeah, it's cool to see you guys at Wanamaker. And obviously it's a large gun show. It's the largest in the world, but it's cool to see manufacturers like that are industry people that are still going to gun shows. I love that. So that's pretty cool. Let's go to Cole. Cole, what about you? SHOT Show or NRAM?
NRAM's definitely a lot more laid back. I get to interact with the public a lot more, and the good old boys stop by and tell me an hour-long story, and I'm like, oh, hell, here we go again, and that's always fun. But honestly, it's hard because I get to see a lot of really good friends at SHOT Show that I don't get to see very often. You get to circle back with a lot of them. I think SHOT Show is more of like a connection and just after hours thing, and NRAM's more of a let's show the actual customers what we have, and kind of more of it's more directed toward the customer. So I think they're two totally different things in my mind, but I don't know. I've been going to SHOT Show longer than I've gone to NRAM, so I'd have to say SHOT Show.
Yeah. Mike, and I know you love the scooters in Indianapolis this past year. You and Rob had some fun times on those, but from your point of view, I know SHOT Show or NRAM, do you prefer one or the other?
Yeah, I take NRAM. I mean, for me, anytime you get to talk to like the customer from a business point of view, right? For me, just talking to the end consumer, even though sometimes they would frustrate you with their engineering that they wanted you to apply to the firearm or the color that we were going to sell a boatload of, it still was better to talk to the end consumer to get him to get that person to hold the gun, know that they could go to a local dealer and go get it and know you're actually pulling something through the system. So yeah. SHOT Show, like I said, SHOT Show for me is, you get a few dealers come up and, a couple of my distributor friends or, sales people come through, but you never really had that person who's like, I'm going to go out and I want to get this. The people that were more curious at SHOT Show for me, what I noticed was the people that worked there. Like they actually worked like the concessions, they're walking around and they pick up like the catalog and they're like, this is really cool, but
yeah. I actually had a girl that was always there in front by the dungeon where the taxis drop you off in the morning, right there by the dungeon of SHOT. And she's always there every morning. She's got the camouflage. You can tell she's not a tactical girl. She works there. She's handing out the daily flyers. And I was walking by and she's like, oh man, that's actually pretty cool. Like, what is that? She obviously had no idea, but she was enjoying seeing some of the products and all of that, which is kind of cool because they, like you said, these guys have conventions every week. This is their job. But I think that some of them, I would say that SHOT Show is going to be kind of fun to work with because you see different people than the tech business guy in suits and all that. You're going to see all walks of life, law enforcement, military, just normal people. I love that about SHOT. SHOT's my one of my favorite weeks because I see everybody. NRAM, I do agree. I like the laid back side. G, Clover, if you guys had to choose SHOT Show or NRAM.
Well, that's great. Are we supposed to talk at the same time or what here?
He's ghosting us. This is typical.
I'm ghosting you, so you guys are going to have to battle it out.
Normally it's 5 questions to one person. This time it's one
question. I try to throw 5 questions at once. Yeah, I gotta keep you on your toes. I
like SHOT better.
You go first.
Who?
Okay, or G. Yeah,
I'm going. So I like SHOT Show better. It's been going for a longer time, and it's more interesting to watch it change. shot or NRAM changes cities, which is interesting, and it's for end users. That's cool, but I'm 2A, so it's too frustrating for me to watch the NRA bring their entire membership together and allow the system to turn into what it's become. I would have voted NRAM because I'm 2A. If they would have made it a focus on getting rid of the NFA, getting rid of the infringements that they've got in the California, New Jersey, and Connecticut, and Rhode Island, and Vermont. Or not Vermont, sorry. Well, a little bit in Vermont now, but you know what I'm saying? I'd rather see an NRA show be Pro 2A and then have access, but they just went full, let's just do industry, or let's just do products, and that part's frustrating about NRA. SHOT Show never even bothered to act like it's about the rights. It's about the industry, and it's all good, really. I like SHOT Show better.
Chloe, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, despite, if the NRA was longer, if the NRA had a range day, then I think it would be more of a contender in a head-to-head matchup, the question that you asked. And NRA is certainly great for polishing up and, really honing those relationships and stuff like that, just because of the laid-back atmosphere. But at the end of the day, the electricity, the excitement, and when we're talking in the capacity of a relationship, right? New relationships, and when they just start out, that's the fun time, right? I mean, look back to when you were dating, and some people here may still do that, but that's typically the most exciting time and that sort of thing. So it's kind of that same feel that, am I going to get a call? Am I going to get an email back? Am I going to, get to bring these folks onto the podcast?
You're going to get a second date, baby.
Yeah, it's that excitement, right? It's that, it's an unknown future at that point, and everything's on the table because you just don't know. And and it's a week long, and we've got actually 2 range days because those of us that do Antares, we get 2 range days back to back, and then a week on the floor. And it just, I don't know. NRA just, at the end of the day, can't compete.
Yeah, I agree. I love SHOT, but that's, whatever. I want to kind of run this through, start kind of closing doors here a little bit. So I want to ask everyone, kind of talk about what your projects are, or what you guys might be unleashing at SHOT. I want to start with Clint and say, for Black Rain Ordnance, is there something that the viewers and the end users, the consumers of the world, need to start looking for at SHOT and their after SHOT?
As always, we'll roll out some cool stuff. We always try to do something new, different. Some years it's great big, some years it's just kind of some minor changes, but we'll have some new cool stuff to roll out at SHOT. We'll have stuff in several booths of our industry partners and everything. And of course, at Range Day, I know we'll get together and you'll get to try out some of the new cool toys we've got. So I wish I could elaborate a little bit more, but we can't. So you'll get to see some cool stuff soon.
Awesome. Cole, what about you? Since you've got so many, obviously, companies you're working with, what are some of the things that that are coming out that people should be looking for?
One would be Phone Scope started a new site called Scoped AI. I'm going to tell you all right now, your phone scares the shit out of me. The amount of stuff that your phone can do is freaking mind-boggling. I mean, we've just for instance, we can now use a phone as a rangefinder. You can use it for thermal. It's just nuts what you can program your phone to do. So that's from there. There's new stocks coming out from Macmillan. Masterpiece Arms is rolling out the Matrix chassis and showing some of that. And we're trying to come out with a law enforcement package. It's all over the place. I'm just trying to hold on for dear life, and hopefully I don't screw something up. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm going to come back to you guys here a little bit, let you plug where you are on social media so people can go find your websites and all that. But before I do that, I want to bring Mike in. And, I know this is going to have been an interesting year for you, transitioning from kind of the industry side to the nonprofit. But, I'm sure goals haven't changed as far as trying to get your message out. But, what are some of the messages and the projects that you're going to be working on the next year for Walk the Talk?
Obviously, our insert's a big one. the link that is on there, the screenings, people are going to them, they're using them, they're free and anonymous. The statistics show that it's something that's been well received. Yep, there you go. Thank you. Just get the information out there about the programs and policies that we have and what we're doing. I think like a few years ago, people couldn't fathom the two sides talking to each other, mental health and firearms. And I must say, like, the response that we've gotten from the mental health side has even kind of blown me away. Our programs make sense to them, and it shows that we're doing something proactive. I like to say we're just being better than everybody else. It's something that I'm proud of for the Second Amendment community, gun culture, that we can now say, look, we're doing things, and it's blowing people away. So it's just getting that message out there, helping people understand what it is we're doing, and that it's okay to get help. So,
yeah. And with so many, and you and I have talked so many times about this, but with so many of our community being military background, the PTSD is real, but PTSD is not a military owned thing. I mean, LEOs go through, everyone can go through a traumatizing thing that happen to be gun people, and kind of breaking down the stigma of what mental health is. And I love the thing, the very first time you and I ever talked, over a year and a half ago, whatever it was you said that you want to be able to people to talk about mental health like they do putting a seatbelt on, where it's not a big thing anymore. It's just, hey, we can talk about mental health and not worrying about if the government's listening and whether you're going to get red flagged or not. And I love the fact that I see you and I see Rob and I see you guys all over the country talking at different mental health projects. Now, they're not gun related. I want to kind of get your information real quick about this. Is how have you been received by the medical side of mental health as a gun person?
It's been amazing, because I can show them what we do, and there are, it's ours. It's the Second Amendment communities programs. Even though if no one knows what I'm talking about right now, they're made by gun people, right? Everybody that's on my board, industry people, everybody volunteering. I'm on a suicide prevention task force for the VA, and I was just at the White House.
You were at the White House not too long ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was great. I was the only gun industry person there, and I really feel like I blew them away with what we did. And I had one of the mental health professionals after, who is military guy, super pro gun, and he said, "I love listening to you talking there because you don't have restrictions or red tape." And he's like, all those people you're sitting around that table with, they can't get stuff done like you can. You just do it. And it goes back to my theory. If I could rename Walk the Talk America, I would name it Walk Fucking 3 Feet Over There, because people act like it's a big deal to do something positive. And, it really isn't. You just do it. You know what I mean? And we're figuring it out as we go. I mean, there's been so many programs that it just like, the insert. I know I keep going back to that, but that came from last year's SHOT Show. It was just like, hey, why don't we just put this, everyone's passing out the bands. Let's just put that in the box of the guns, and people can hold on to it and use it whenever they need it. The mental health community is welcoming with open arms. I think they were waiting for us. We get so bogged down with defending our rights, and rightfully so, right? We're called all kinds of shitty things.
Oh, man.
And sometimes it's hard to just take that without throwing your hands up and being like, screw it, I'm not going to talk to this person. But when you come and you have solutions and you say, like, this is what we're doing, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't know you guys were doing things like this. This is awesome. Take, for example, the course that Rob and I throw, teaching mental health practitioners about guns and gun culture and getting them on the range. We've thrown 2 of those classes, and we've had close to 30 mental health professionals come through. Many of them had never shot a firearm before. Many of them didn't understand the 2A community. And we have people actually going there saying, I need to put in my bio on like Psychology Today, 2A friendly or gun friendly. So people aren't afraid to come talk to me because they didn't even know that there was this issue. And then they're learning the little differences and nuances, things that we know, and it's hard for us to explain to non-gun people, but the difference between like an AR and just a regular handgun. Things like that. I'm really proud of. So we're bringing the 2 sides together, and we're talking to each other, not at each other at this point.
Yeah, I love it. I want to quick fun question for the three of you, mostly for Clint and Cole. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit. Aside from your own products, do you guys ever look forward to going to other booths and kind of as a consumer yourself saying, man, I want to see what this is out? Do you guys ever kind of geek out on other people's products, or do you don't have time for that?
Yeah, rarely do I have much time, but if I do get to sneak away from the booth, I've got a handful of products that I run and that I use. So I always try to get by their booth and see those guys and maybe grab a sticker or something for the gun safe if they got them. You know, everybody's got
You're a swag hag.
you know, no, I don't usually get much time out on the floor, but if I do, I go to the industry partners that I run their stuff. And of course, we know those guys. You know, we deal with them on several different things. And we, being military, law enforcement, all that, there's a lot of gear and stuff that I still use currently for kind of my side gig. So
Right.
it's cool to go out and see what they've got that's new and visit with those guys that I maybe only see at SHOT Show. So
Yeah. Cole, what about you? Is there anything that you kind of look forward to every year of kind of seeing companies? I mean, do you look for what's coming out in the industry, or are you too busy about your brands?
No, I think that's one big thing about being a marketing person is you've always got to look and see what everybody else is doing too, you know, and that's one of my things. I've got to spend some time walking around talking to people. Hey, what are you coming out with? Oh, this is badass, you know, and I wonder if one of my clients could use this for their stuff, or if you know, we could, you know, maybe build on top of their ideas or their plans. So we're always looking for something. I mean, that's the thing is if you're in this industry, at some point in time, you fell in love with it. I mean, it's, of course, now I want to just fish, but I don't want to freaking shoot anymore because now all I do is shooting. So.
Well, I'm going to start sweeping the floor and all of that, as Clover likes to say. I'm going to start with G and say, G, you know, what are kind of some of the projects you're looking forward to doing at SHOT Show, and let people know where they can find you to find all your stuff?
I'm just really looking forward to experiencing it now for the 15th year and trying to put that kernel out there for people that are bringing cameras, that if we were to ask, what's your favorite, or what's the gun owners' rights group that the company supports, or something like that, then we would let the industry know that it's something important to us. And industry, same way. If you're having interviews with people, let people know. And you remember Virginia, Epstein didn't kill himself, something. But those kind of things keep our community together. And I think SHOT is a frustrating one because so many people can't go, right? They can't attend, even if they wanted to. So I really think it's neat to see the evolution of it, sharing, I guess, you know, with the rest of our viewers or supporters or customers or whatever we want to call the rest of us. I'm really looking forward to experiencing that. So my projects tend to focus on how to share that, like looking backwards at SHOT. This year I want to try to somehow focus on the $90 million footprint that we'll leave in that town. They like to say that guns are single items of violence, or we're fetish against, you know, violence or something, that we like these things, or we're, you know, focused on killing with them. And it's not, you know, obviously we know. So I want to try to turn the cameras around and use the show, that the time when the industry's all in the same city for the same week, to use whatever opportunities we can there to let media know that we've influenced the show over the years, you know, changing from cameras to video to streaming to live stuff like this. Let's keep in mind that we can do that with intent. Thanks for the show. It's been a great chat. I like to hear from the industry side.
I'll see you in a couple weeks, brother. Clover, what about you? What are kind of some of the projects that you're looking forward to doing at SHOT, and then kind of plug websites or whatever that people can find you at?
Let me self promote first and say,
Okay.
yeah, you can find everything over on clovertech.com, including the project that Ghost and I are working on, the Ghost and Clover SHOT Show 2020 sweepstakes. And what you're going to get is a signed limited edition sticker out of that, and then a chance to win a very cool prize pack that I don't know if Ghost has a list or not. But if you go over there, follow the link, all that kind of stuff, you'll see all the awesome companies that's helped us out, as well as viewers, followers, subscribers, friends, whatever you want to call them, that have helped out with that prize pack as well. Yeah, with what I've got going on moving forward, obviously the networking and stuff like that. One thing that we've talked about here a lot is establishing those relationships and getting those started. And for me, one of the steps in doing that is getting people to come on and record a podcast with me. It's no commitment. Let's get on. Let's have a conversation a lot like we've had here, laid back. Just talk about our lives and experiences and history and what we do and company and whatever. And so, obviously I'm going to be doing a lot of that during the show, making contacts, pitching that to people, trying to get them to come on and record something in the future. And then also, I want to dial things back a little bit. And one of the things that I want to approach when I go into a booth, if I'm going to film, if I'm going to do any content there or get any B-roll, or maybe it's at range day or whatever, and actually focus on products, is I want to dial it back to some more basic, I guess maybe is the word. If you've seen anybody seen the top 10 things I'm most excited about during the SHOT Show, I mean, there was a lot of FUD guns in that. It wasn't a lot of tactical stuff, wasn't a lot of semi-automatic stuff necessarily or anything like that. And one of the things I want to talk about that new gun owner also wasn't a lot of expensive things in that. And so, yeah, we like to pitch the Hudson or the new Colt Python or the $1,500 to $2,000 to $2,500 firearm, and those people just getting into firearms are not, odds are they're not going to spend that. That's not going to be their first gun. That's awesome if you can afford that, and that's the case, right? So I want to pitch it to them that, instead of the product maybe that you're showcasing for SHOT Show, what's the product here that you would recommend to that first time firearm owner? They've turned 18 or 21, depending on where they live. They're interested. They want to buy that first firearm. What do you have? What's in your catalog? What's in your inventory? What do you recommend? So that's sort of the way I want to approach the show when I'm talking about product.
Users out there, my last one, bro. If you want that one, I'll give it to you. That's the last hat that I have right now. Shoot me an email with your address, and I'll get that in the mail to you. Appreciate your support, brother. Yeah, I wanted to kind of touch on a little bit what you're saying right there is the sweepstakes we've got going on. It's kind of cool. We've got a TZ99 handgun, 200 rounds of ammo. The gun cleaners has thrown in some solvent and some lube and a cleaning mat, so all the cleaning solutions that you need. Pistol case from Cedar Mill Fine Firearms, 50 paper targets from Outdoor Products Plus, Hunter's HD Gold Velocity shooting glasses, Venture Gear Tactical Sentinel Electronic Ear Pro, Real Avid Boar Boss from Full Max Sports, Voodoo Tactical Scorpion Range Bag, a 10-inch AR-500 steel gong, and obviously lots of other swag. And so this all started from one of our viewers that donated a gun to us last year to give away for Christmas, which was awesome. Thank you. He gave us another one this year. He wanted to kind of maybe try to raise money to cover some expenses for SHOT. And so we're doing this, and it's a great idea. So we want to thank Guitar Man Pete out there for doing that. Awesome. So thank you. So yeah, if you guys are interested, a $10 purchase, I mean, the value of that price back, I mean, the HD 100 glasses are about $350 by themselves. The pistols for $300 to $400 by itself, plus all the other stuff. So I mean, it's a good price back. If you're interested, great. If not, hey, cool. Understand it. But yeah, thanks to Pete for getting that kind of going, for donating the firearm to us to allow us to do this sweepstake. Now Cole back there says, hit me up. We're going to work on some different giveaways throughout the year for our viewers as well. So I definitely will. This one kind of happened the last minute and didn't really, just had some time to pull some stuff that were kind of close to us. So we did that. But yes, you can donate to the thing. But at this point, the voting ends next Wednesday, I think, Clover. Is that what it is?
Yeah, a week from tomorrow will be the last day. Yeah.
Yeah, and so obviously we're not going to do anything until after we get back from SHOT, but all this stuff, and a lot of stuff will be sent from other places. It's not coming from us. These companies will send it. So anyways, other than that, guys, Yeah, if you want to do that, great. If not, I want to start with Clint real quick and kind of tell people website, social media, where they can find you guys at for Black Rain.
BlackRainOrdnance.com is our website. You can call into the storefront. Our number's online and everything with that. We actually do answer the phones and we answer emails. So
yes, you do.
If you can't find what you need on the website, just call into the shop, talk to one of our crew here. For current or new customers, we'll get you taken care of. We work very, very hard to provide superior customer service and support. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, so reach out to us. Let us know if you need anything. We work hard to take care of you guys. We appreciate every one of you.
And I didn't know if you saw that or not, but we did a little voting. The viewers got a little Viewers Choice Awards we called them the Golden Ghost Awards, and the Black Rain Spec won the favorite AR by the Viewers Choice this year. So congratulations!
Well, thank you.
Absolutely nothing for that, but a big boy.
That's cool. We've got bragging rights, and I did share that with the guys when you texted me about it, and they were all like, "Oh, well, that's really cool." So.
What kind of cool is this?
We work hard. If you read our company statement, we work hard to produce stuff that we ourselves would be proud to carry. So that's important to us to not only make quality products, but also to stand behind them.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, bro. And I'll see you soon, man.
Absolutely, man.
Soon. Cole, tell people about Team POI, some of the brands you're working with, and where they can find all you on social media and all of
that. My personal one's teampoi.com. A lot of our brands have links onto my website. So McMillan, Masterpiece Arms, Phone Scope, Devil Dog Arms, all of our clients are on there. You can click on it and get direct links to their websites. Social media, we control most of them. Well, not most of them. We control a lot of them, and we control a lot of others. So we're always around. But the most you can find out about us and our clients is on our website. So I appreciate you having me.
Hey, man, it was awesome talking to you as well. You've been on the show before talking. I think we talked more Devil Dog Arms at that point, which kind of holds a special place in my heart being a Marine. But, yeah, man, it's awesome. And I'll see you in a couple weeks as well. Mike, what about you? You want to plug WTTA and where we can find you and all that stuff?
Yeah, WTTA.org or walkthetalkamerica.org. You can find us on Instagram or Facebook at Walk the Talk US. You can find me on Instagram if you guys have any questions. Walk Talk America is ours. It's a 2A thing, and we do not have any paid employees. Nobody takes a draw. 100% of your donation goes to our programs and what we do. I'm proud of that. There's not a lot of nonprofits that could actually say that. So please check us out. If you can't donate and times are tight, which I know they are. Please just spread the word. You could share links and the page and everything like that. But I really appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to see all you guys in a couple of weeks. So,
absolutely. I appreciate all that you're doing. And I'll have a bunch of these. I'm sure you'll have a bunch of them too. But if you're out at SHOT Show and you need one, come find me. I'm sure Clover and I and Mike will have a ton of them. But it's something as simple as wearing a bracelet. And a lot of people ask, what is WTTA around here? And that just gives me an opportunity to talk, which is really kind of cool. So appreciate all you guys are doing for that. And I'm so proud of where you guys have come in a year and a half from June of 2018 at a bar in New Orleans, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's a wild ride. I tell people to go to Instagram because it tells a 1-year story that's just wild. But I really appreciate your guys' support. You guys have been great, and you've always given me a platform. I love it, and thank you. So,
yeah, man, I appreciate you, and yeah, bro, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and we'll have a good time. Clover, do you have anything you guys want to bring up before we head out? Any last minute statements?
I'm good.
We went already.
I know. Just say, do you have anything else that y'all want to bring up before we go? You good?
Yeah, I think one of the other neat things about SHOT is that you got people like Mike walking around and being aware and just paying attention and, been in the industry for long enough to know where there's a void. And then the same way as the trigger stuff and the little yellow thing that you get when you get a gun, having something in the box, I don't think that's insignificant at all. It's real life effort, right? It's real life, reminder or whatever, it puts something in somebody's mind who might not ever have it in their mind, the phone number, the concept that there's something like that. And I doubt that's something, I don't have a personal experience with it, but I suspect it's not something that comes on gradually over a 6-month period. You plan on this. It's probably something that happens. So I think awareness of people knowing that there's something that they can do when they get into a state where they need that phone number is vital, right? And like you say, you saw that it was thing. You knew how the industry works from going. That's what SHOT Show is all about. And again, especially with the internet, it's way easier. We could do this all teleconferencing. NSSF could set up some kind of crazy giant chat room and we could SHOT Show, but that would never allow this kind of stuff to happen. So thanks to Mike for doing it. I think that's an excellent illustration of, the evolution of our industry and our community. And we lead the way for a lot of other elements of our society, right? So I think that's awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for coming on. If you're watching live, thank you. We had a really good crowd here. Analytics say a couple hundred people were here. That's a great showing to get these guys' products out there. It was more important for me to have fun and talk about SHOT Show, but without talking about the same old SHOT Show that everyone's talking about. Hey, what's your favorite gun you want to go see? We all can talk about that over, but I thought this would be kind of cool to show you the backside of what SHOT Show is, because it is a massive undertaking as the industry invades Vegas. So thank you to Clint, to Cole, to Sodini, and to G, and to Clover. We appreciate you. If you're watching or listening on podcast form and replay, use the comments below. Please, more than anything else, go check out these guys' websites, their products. As far as Sodini, if you know anyone that is having struggles, that seems to think that they may be alone in this world, in this journey of the darkness of the world, have them go to WTTA.org. There are people out here. Contact myself, Clover, any of these guys. You're not alone. And I put out a post because it's really the hardest part about mental health is sometimes that people feel that they're absolutely alone and that no one understands what they're going through. We've all been through that. Find someone to talk to, anyone. And if you need to find someone to talk to and you can't find anyone around you, Walk the Talk America can at least get you down the road of finding someone that can help you. And I know Mike personally, if you need to call him, he'll answer the phone. If he's your last person that you can think of to call him, because he'll answer the phone. And so will I. So will any of these guys here. You're not alone. We're always here to help. There's always someone. I love a story about the guy that falls in the hole. And the guy jumps in the hole with us, says, "What the hell are you doing?" He goes, "I've been here and I know the way out." There's always someone that knows the way out of some darkness. So find that darkness. If you're in that darkness, find someone that can show you the flashlight, because there are people out there. Thanks again, guys. You're my buddies, and I can't wait to see everyone here in 10 days or so. I land 6 o'clock Saturday night. So I'll be seeing you guys pretty soon. Thanks everyone that's been watching and listening and excuse me, and replay. We appreciate you. Be watching for my stuff for SHOT Show. I'm not going to go live a whole lot. If I do, it'll be on Instagram. I'll be doing a lot of pictures on Instagram and a lot of videos when I get back onto some different stuff. I've got several different projects I'm working that are SHOT Show specific. They're going to be a little bit different than what people typically do. So, but if you want pictures of cool guns and quick interviews, that'll all be on Instagram. So go follow us over there as well. Check out our website, ghosttacticalproductions.com. We'll have all of ours with the Armed Citizen podcast, Operation Training Day, Carry 365 projects, everything and anything that we do is over there. So go check that out as well. We will see you soon. Peace out and stay safe. And God bless USA. We had some brothers and sisters over in Iraq right now that need our support. Regardless of what you think of President Trump and our foreign policy thing, the guys and gals that have boots in the sand right now, they don't give a shit about that. There's some serious shit going over in the Middle East right now. Find someone, send a care package to a soldier, Marine, sailor, or airman. Do something to support them. And they don't see the politics. They see real shit happening. They see lead flying at them. So politics aside, support the armed forces, because right now there's some shit going on. We'll see you soon. Peace out.